Hi everybody. This movie's here to get you squared away and finished up with this project and put it to bed once and for all. Okay, when we last left off, I was showing you how to find an image and make sure it's large enough, at least 1,000 or 1,500 pixels, and then to collect 4 images for 4 separate stamps. And then the final step is to place it on this scalloped edge background, which I fixed up from finding on the net, and then put all 4 stamps the same size as a template. So I'm going to click on this layer just to show you. Oh, there we go. And I changed the layout a little bit, and notice that I have a wonderful, striking black and white image that has plenty of ample negative space to put my text on. And I darken the background here underneath the seat, underneath the type here on the seat she was sitting on, so that the white type would separate nicely. Notice also that the edge of the N is separated from the edge of the 44, and that all the margins are here in place, and that the USA goes to the outer edge of the 44 on each side. Great. So next step is I'm going to copy this layer and say File New, and it so happens that this image is 1,000 by 797 pixels. So I'll say OK to that and then paste it. And oops, that's another image. So let's go back. Let me try that again. I have to select all, Control A on this layer, layer 1, and then Control C or Edit Copy, Control N or File New. That's more like it, 1700 by 1343. And then paste it. There we go. And then set up the crop tool, and this button here, front image, will set up the exact values for us here, width and height and resolution, so that the other images that I have we can crop to this. I'm going to minimize this for now and move this out of the way, and so we don't need that one anymore. I'm going to build 4 images and 4 layers on this one stamp, and that'll keep things nice and clean. Okay, so you see that the dimensions are different here, but the crop tool is set up to be the exact dimension that I need. And if I just click and drag, it's going to work out really well. Alright, so I hit enter and then Control 0 to zoom out. Notice the life logo down here. To get rid of that, I'm going to click on the stamp tool, get a larger brush up here, and hardness is 0 or thereabouts, and somewhere around 100 pixels or so will be fine. And to use the stamp tool, what you do is you hold down the Alt key and then click with the mouse to sample this tone here, and then click with the mouse and paint with that tone. Sample again, sample from over here, and paint. Oops, Control Z if you make a move that you don't like. That's close enough. Okay, so this image is now the exact size it needs to be. So I'm going to copy this with Select A, Control C, and then paste into this, Control V. And there it is, sitting right over layer 1. And once again, I want to darken this area down here. So I'm going to grab the lasso tool and lasso around, hit Refine Edge, and I'm choosing a radius or a feathering amount that smooths this out, or blends this out, feathers this out, and is enough but not too much. And then click on the right layer, that's this one, and then Image, Adjustment Levels, or Control L. And let me show you that. So I'm taking the middle slider and darkening the bottom layer right there. And say OK to that. Deselect. And notice that this fit perfectly right in there. Okay. Let's do the same process here. Grab the crop tool, it's still set, and click and drag, and we'll get an image that's perfectly sized again. Hit enter. Control A, Control C, that's copy and paste. Control V, and perfect. It goes perfectly in there. And once again, I'm going to slightly darken this background. I'll blend it a little bit more than the last one. Actually, I can move it down a pixel or two. With it on that layer, feather it by refining the edge. I'm going to use 22 again. And levels, Control L is the shortcut. And take the middle slider and darken it just ever so slightly again. And deselect. Kind of goes with that shadow in the upper left there. Okay, so we have 3 images and we need one more. And that's this one, crop tool. Same size again. Click and drag. Enter. Control A, Control C. Minimize this and come back and paste it in. Hold on before I do that. I'm going to move this down a pixel or two using the down arrow, so I got rid of a little black line down here, and paste it in. And same deal, use the arrow key and move it down just ever so slightly. Good. So we're basically almost done now. I'm going to get rid of these guidelines by dragging them out of here so you can see what we've got and how it looks. And I can turn on each layer and turn, or off, I'm sorry, by using this eyeball in the layers here, and just check them all out. Are they aligned? Are there any edges showing? I have an extra layer here, I think. No, I don't. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's good. Perfect. So what I'm going to do next is save each layer in turn to its own separate file as a JPEG. That's very important. So I'm going to say File, Save As, call it Stamp 1. JPEG it right there. I already have that, but I'll overwrite that. Well, I'll just click on that and then say Save. And 10 is a good compression ratio. Okay, and that just it didn't save these hidden layers. It just saved the stamp with that one layer. Now, if I turn the next layer on top of it, I'm going to do the same thing. File, Save As, and JPEG it. Very important. I'll click on stamp 1 and just replace this number 1 with a number 2. Save. 10. And then repeat. Rinse and repeat. So here's the next one. File, Save As. Choose JPEG. Make it number 3. Okay. And finally, number 4. File, Save As, JPEG. Oops. Stamp 4. This stamp file I'm going to put on the blog, and it's full size, and you can click on the picture of it in the blog, and then it'll open to the large version, and then right click on it and copy and paste it into Photoshop, and you'll be all set to have it and use. Okay, so we've got 4 separate stamps all set up with the drop shadow all on there with 4 separate file names. And at this point, what I want to do is create a new canvas. Before I do that, let me just see how big this one is. Image size. Okay, these are at 72 dpi right now. They're fairly big, and I've got 22 by 27 height. What I'm going to do is not resample image, but just change this to 240, because that'll make it print resolution. I unclicked resample, I changed the resolution to 240, and look what happened to the width and the height. So it's 6.6 wide, 8.3 tall. So I'm going to do File, New, and create a large canvas now in inches at 240 dpi. Oops. And make that 15 wide and 18, like 20 tall. Can crop it later. Color mode is grayscale, and background is white, and I'll say OK to that. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of these untitled's. Don't have to really get rid of them, but why don't I just go ahead and File, Open, Stamp 1 through Stamp 4. I can hold down Shift and it'll highlight all of these, and then hit Open, and it'll open all of them in turn. 1, 2. I'm kind of loading down the computer right now with the movie making and a couple of other things. 3 and 4. Okay. Next, I could copy and paste like I did the other ones, or I could just drag the image, that's another method too, onto the new larger canvas, which is right here. So I'm going to click, drag, and move it. And it's coming on there, so I'm going to get rid of this now and do the next one. Okay, now we'll take this. We've made this basically wall poster size, so if you wanted to have a print made, it would look pretty good sitting in a frame. Yes, sir. Alright, I want to get these close enough and perfectly arranged in here, so I'm going to blow this up. And I did that by, you can either use the navigator here and use the slider, or I hold down the Shift bar and Control, and I clicked and dragged with the mouse to zoom in on this spot here. And I'm going to pull out a few guidelines again. Let's say right there and right there. So I can align the bottom up with this and try to get this equidistant to make a square in the middle, basically. So I can move that in right to the edge there and move that in right there. Perfect. Zoom out with a Control 0, or you can use the navigator. If you're looking for the navigator, it's under Window, a Navigator. Okay. You can zoom out this way, see what we have here. And then finally, I'm going to use the crop tool and get rid of these parameters here because I don't want to crop it back down tiny. And Okay, I'm just adjusting these a little bit so they're not quite that tight. Good. Enter. And with all these layers, then what we want to do is save this. One thing I might want to consider is my layout. I just noticed on the top here I have two images of her looking in this direction, stage right, I guess, and two images of her looking that way. That's okay. Or I may want to break that up and say, let's put this one here and this one there. These will snap to these guidelines, so I don't have to worry about that. And I think I like that layout a little better, as she's bringing her gaze towards the center all the time into the focal point of the picture. Good. So File, Save As, and we'll call it Stamp Final. Oops, F-I-N-A-L, yep. And very important, JPEG it to save space, and the blog can't take it anyway unless it's JPEG'd. And OK. Okay, 16 minutes on the movie. I guess that's it. Remember, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch with me by email, or if you're really stuck, call me up. Play the movie over and over if you need to, and stop it, reverse it, whatever it takes. And I'll post the stamp image to the blog, as well as how the finished product looks here. Take care. See you in the classroom.